Hello everyone, I am Palpatine001 aka the Senate, and we are back with Cities Skylines 2 Manukau Rangers Part 1.2.1, the basic network that spawns off your main network, i.e. your local streets and connectors, and your, depending on where I'm at, also your basic transit network that can be, it's basically your routing, basically starting to lay out some of your lines such as your intercity and local bus stops. In 1.2.0 we covered the methodology, link in the end screen below. Today we're going to basically get the basic network set up, which again, two examples of industry, residential off the ready, so that we can finally get to the zoning. So your basic network, so if your roads and your railway were the bones and the arteries in and of themselves, your local roads are the smaller ones, the veins and the smaller capillary network, which all link up into the main network. But this is also where you have the ultimate control of your spatial form and the behaviors that are going to influence it as well. And this comes down to the old saying of transport affects land use affects transport, and both are going to affect your city user experience. Okay, one is going to impact the other. So this is your integrated transport and land use, which is often so forgotten about in planning as a whole. So this is where the basic network is going to have the biggest impact in all of the game. So this is using, periodically I'll be using my medium road tools depending on what I need to do. But this is where your small roads and local networks come in to play, and I've got everything from 2-lane roads, asymmetrical one-ways, dirt roads, alleyways, which are some of my favorites. One-way, so if you want to see alleyways in action, it's over here, so you can see an alleyway there and a one-way there. Difference is the one-way also gives parking if you don't attach parking to it. We also have pedestrian roads and small pedestrian roads, which are one-way streets, and I believe I have those. No, there's a pedestrian road in effect, and in Worrytown I should have it. I have both in effect as well. Basically what they do is foot traffic, and of course I can build transit ways if I need to, and I also have things like bus lanes or priority lanes available, and also your tram network kicks in as well, which we can see over here in the city centre. So you can see the basic network is starting to flesh itself out. Also arguably included is your parking as well, both on street and off street whenever I decide to use them, remembering that all parking is paid for, whether it is off street or on street. City centre being case in point, where you get stiff the highest amount, because it's the city centre, it's meant to be accessible by transit. So that is where we are with with today with 1.2.1 doing the basic network. 1.2.2 is the zone placement, and so yay, we finally placed down the zones, apart from the ones already did in 1.2.0 as a demonstration. And then 1.2.3 is the civic and green infrastructure. Technically it's also your transit and communication infrastructure as well, which often gets left out, which you can see here. So 1.2.3 is actually going to be quite a busy one, because that's the final piece of the puzzle to put it together. So then we're starting in here and over here, and I could push something out here. So let's get the basic network going, which we already technically have done here. This will be specialized industry, farming, forestry, or mining. I am looking for a spot for stone mining. So if you're wondering what I'm blabbing on about, it's the specialized industry. So we'll get these farms off the ground, we'll get forestry off the ground, we'll get not coal, not needed. This is metal, and we'll also get stone, because your taxes explain it quite well in production. So wood, where does that go? Chooks, for an example. Wheat. Wheat's an interesting one because it also goes to petrochemicals. Vegetables, again, food and beverages. Cotton's over to textiles. Stone is to produce concrete. Coal. Alright, so I do need coal mining because it produces metal as well, so I have to, I'll set that up later. And then ore, sorry, that was ore. Stone, because then you shift over down to your material goods, so we're doing a bit of a crash course in the economics. Metals. Steel, so I do need to dig out coal eventually. Stone. Concrete. Upkeep, so this is what triggers your upzoning. I think that comes from stone, yep. And if I drop down to planks, also used for upkeep as well. So you've got some priorities there. So I am going to need to get coal net going, and I'll set it up likely over here. Let's just check my natural resources. Alright, so we'll set up over here. Should actually increase that too. So what have I got here? Yeah, so we've got one there. That's going to be residential in that. Stone can be set up anyway, so it's not reliant on as such. So I want to do a quick fire. Why is that? Oh, because that connects over, so that would be a good one. So that would be... So setting up the network, we're going to do our first one for this part anyway. Wrong one. This is me just being a bit pedantic. And cul-de-sac. Get those trucks to turn around so they can turn around safely. And so there's a form of a base in there. Now, technically not doing a zone placement as such. So what I just need to do very quickly, so we're just crossing over a little bit. You might catch me just doing some specialized industries right off the bat. Technically they're not part of the zoned industry in of themselves. Making okay, what's on the other side? Ha! Residential, so yes, a dig through, and hello. In due time that would pop out in normal circumstances. Technically they shouldn't be having a sock, because this should be able to... I have hit the stone one, haven't I? Yep. And they shouldn't... be packing a sook over that. What I might do, just because reasons, and this is where I get a bit. Let's do it anyway, just to keep it quiet. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. No, I might just move that in quickly. There we go, it doesn't look as silly. So we've got an industry off the ground. And then I can, oh, am I still on it? Nope. So it does simulate we're going up the hill. Okay. I've just got to also make sure, because no, he's been connected. Might actually just in case. No, I know how electricity is. Okay, so that's also technically our first extractive industry. Industry's already been set up there. So that's fine because that will be set down to farming. That's set down for industry. Only need a small amount of industry to get us going, but we can extend things a little bit further. So there's two ways I can do the networks. I can do it either manually or I can set it to by grid. But in this case, I'm actually going to set this. Oh, I could get away with grid. Let's see what it decides to do. It's actually going to let me. Yep, that's perfectly. I've done it as one-way roads. Whoops, that was silly. Oh, because it only needs to be technically one-way roads. It's perfectly fine. And then again, just to make sure the networks all flow properly. Don't exactly need them there because that's just one-way stuff. And then I can just drop conventional industry. Don't need the clean ones yet because we're not. Yeah, 1, 2, 5. I don't usually, so this is a bit of a zone placement, don't usually place industry on main roads. There's a reason for that. So we've got our first bit of basic network set up for the industry. Where it's going to be a little bit more comprehensive is in here, establishing the residential areas and all that. Now this will technically be medium, and this will be technically low, but let's set up the network as we have got it. Okay, so there's a pedestrian street there. Now they're good for forming main streets, which will often attract your most valuable developments, because residents love it for the quietness, businesses love it for the amenity and everything else that comes with it. Yeah, that's not going to work the way I want. It's just going to be a real good guessing game. And I should always have this one so I can at least see what I'm doing. Why was that made a 2? Where's that going that warrants it to be a 2? Technically nowhere. Because I'm not going to be bringing it under any bridges in that, and it's not going around there, so This will be a case of just jumping up back to 1. I do allow for some on-street parking. I'm not totally heartless. Oh, it's going to bend it off a bit. That's okay. And this is where I get pedantic just a little bit. Yeah, it's fine. And now, catches, we've got a pedestrian road in here. So that will probably be a wise idea to flip that over to a normal road. And I think we're under lights control. That just saves that problem. Okay, so that's all ready to go. Now what's going on over here? I could extend out. This can take quite a while to do, just depending on what's going on. Hello, can I get underneath that? Yes, I can. It's a good connection. It means I don't have... Oh, that was a bit silly. Excellent, that brings that around, which means technically that is a crematorium. Which means I should be able to bring him up and over. Because this is a town centre as such, pedestrian roads is part of your basic network. Much better than using your roads and such. Again, do the same out here. And if I really wanted to be somewhat pedantic, put in a little wee, or I could put in a real big one. Little wee cul-de-sac at the end because we can. I mustn't keep forgetting those. I often do, which is a bit... Okay, so that's all set up. That gets pushed on now. I think Manukau Ranges is an exclusive district. Yes, it is. Okay. Again, keep it simple. So this is in the civic area, so... Oh, no, there's a hill right there, so that would be no. So we just let that... Oh, okay. Oh. Alleyway. This is where your alleyways come in. Good for off-street parking. Wrong one. So what we'll do... Not totally mean with... Make sure that holds at 90 degrees, line up. There you go. Keeps it away from the main roads as well, so this would all get flipped over in due time. If the buses need to get in and out, they use the roundabouts rather than crossing traffic. So that's all set up. City centre we won't do yet. We'll just let the infrastructure build itself, although we do have zoning in. We'll just let it build out here first and then slowly shift over. Industry is going to be on a... somewhat of a piecemeal basis. Now we can definitely get industry in here. I keep thinking that's the grid one, it's not. Trust me, grids are your friends. Okay, road. Keep it under traffic lights control. I'm just wondering how much that's gonna, what's that? That's the off ramp, isn't it? How much that's gonna back that up if I bring them out, rather than laying the space out. And then again, just a small roundabout to go here, and also just to quickly okay, and then again that what I will do there is I will use a clean zone industry just to see how this plays out while I drop the warehousing, which changes color. In here, so a bit of an experiment going, but we'll see how it works. Now, also included with your roads is your water, sewage, and power. So that I don't need to worry about those. That's part of your basic network as well. And then from time to time, you do bring your things like your high tension wires, your substations, and your extra lines just to connect up the gaps, such as out to the city centre. Okay, so that's all set. I'm not going to be able to get on today. We're set here for medium density. And some low density. This will all be low density. And don't worry, we can support it. But what about further low density in that? Well, we can definitely support it out here. So what we'll do, again, let's go back to the grid. We will use our one-ways. Okay, that's the wrong way to do it. So we'll do this in sections. There's the first part. Doesn't matter, it curves away from the road. There's the second part. Now what we will do is now excuse me a minute, what does this have? Take off grid, connect this up, and then we'll be. Now I wonder if that's going to let me drop a nice tiny little roundabout. I wonder if that's going to let me drop the medium one. No. Unless I move the dog centre over a bit closer, which is not an absolute priority. There you go. Okay, and then we shoot back over to the roads and we just connect this up. So what we'll do is just do a quick upgrade with the road. Switch over. And again, roundabouts are your friends. Don't need big ones for this. And we'll connect in another road, so they've got ways out. Okay, again, roundabouts, so it gets a bit methodical, but in the end it does its job. And then again, drop around. just drop a small road on this one. Okay, it doesn't need to be traffic lights, not for that. So again, medium roundabout. However, what I might do is switch over. Just drop parking in there, that just evens it up a bit. And I might actually drop that up to... Actually no, because it's connected both ways. Well, fine. That will eventually go out somewhere over there, or somewhere over there. Okay, so that's the basics all set up there. Now it will start coming down to the zone placement. So your basic networks are set up, which form your veins and your capillaries of your arterial network, and this is what's going to influence the behavior and the spatial form of the city more so than the big main links. That ties it all together. This is where the so-called rubber hits the road, if you want to borrow a pun. And yeah, this is where your city is ultimately going to be shaped. Now, as a preview into 1.2.2, we're just doing, what is this all? This is Southwest, so this will be all using the Southwestern zones. Urban content. Although I will drop in some low rent housing as well. Sorry, I had to think there for a second. So I do that. So we'll, although that's said, because of the heights of the Southwestern, it might be the Eastern European stuff. So a bit of a slight blend in there, because it's not super high density like if I dropped just the European or the Chinese models, it would be a bit completely off. Because as you see, it's not big stuff. In this side, industry is all one type, unless you're using the clean zones, which is well. All on this side will be, and I've already dropped it, will be the UK. So we'll use the UK stuff. Already I have got in I think it's the terraced housing I've already got in, and the detached, and then we'll start moving our way up. I don't think we'll be using, could use high density in here, just depends on mood. And once the zoning's done, we place down the last of the civic infrastructure, which is the schools. The green infrastructure was the parks, and then the transit and communications. So all big, one bit to go. And as this continues to evolve, we start moving across, and we'll start expanding outwards. I'm Palpatine001, aka the Senate, and this concludes 1.2.1, the basic network, short as that is, and we'll be back in 1.2.2 for placing those zones finally, although we don't get ripped just yet. So as always, plan safe, build safe, and if possible, walk safe.